He wasn't supposed to be in the cage. He wasn't supposed to wear the gloves. He was just the guy who swept the sweat off the gym floor when everyone else went home. But that night, when laughter echoed off the walls and the trainer smirked at him with cruel eyes, everything changed. And when his fist connected, when the impossible happened, the whole gym would never forget the janitor who landed one perfect punch. Chapter 1, The Cleaner No One Saw. Rizwan was invisible. At least, that's how it felt. Every evening, after the fighters packed up, after the sound of grunts and punches died down, he walked in with his mop, bucket, and broom. The gym reeked of sweat, chalk, and ambition, dreams hanging in the air like the smell of iron and blood. He'd once dreamed too. Not of being a fighter, but of being respected. Of being seen. But life had other plans. His father's sudden death forced him out of school at 16, working jobs no one wanted just to keep food on the table. Now, at 32, he was the guy scrubbing stains off mats while the world chased glory. Still, Rizwan loved the gym. Loved watching the fighters train, how they moved, how they pushed past pain. Sometimes, when no one was around, he'd mimic their punches, his reflection in the darkened window his only opponent. Chapter 2, The Trainer's Challenge. One night, the gym was still buzzing when Rizwan came in early. A group of fighters circled around, laughing. In the center was Faison, the head trainer. Former pro, muscles cut from stone, ego even bigger. Rizwan quietly rolled in his mop bucket, hoping to stay invisible. "Hey, mop boy," Faison called out, loud enough for everyone to hear. The room stilled. Rizwan froze, staring at the floor. "You've been watching us, haven't you?" Faison said, his smirk sharp. "You like pretending you're a fighter when you think nobody's looking." The fighters snickered. Rizwan's ears burned. "And no, sir. I just get in the ring." Faison's tone was more command than invitation. Rizwan's heart lurched. "I can't. I'm just here to clean." "Oh, come on," one of the younger fighters laughed. "Let's see him throw a punch." The chant started, "Mop boy. Mop boy. Mop boy." Faison's grin widened. "1 round. You land a punch, I'll give you a week's pay. If not, you mop the floor twice." Rizwan looked at the circle of faces, mocking, waiting. His pride screamed louder than his fear. He nodded. 1 round. Chapter 3, Into the Cage. The gloves felt heavy, foreign. His hands shook as he strapped them on. The fighters leaned on the cage, jeering, their voices like knives. Across from him, Faison bounced on his feet, loose and confident. "Don't cry when I tap you out, janitor." The bell rang. Faison circled, playful, throwing feints like a cat toying with prey. Rizwan's body screamed to run. His heart pounded in his throat. But then, something inside him shifted. He remembered his father's voice, soft but firm, "Never bow your head to mockery, son. Even a cornered man has teeth." Faison lunged with a jab. Rizwan flinched, then, instinct took over. His body moved the way it had in the shadows, mimicking fighters for years. He slipped under the punch and, without thinking, threw his fist. Chapter 4, The punch hurt around the gym. Time slowed. His knuckles connected square with Faison's jaw. A crack echoed. Faison's eyes widened in shock before his body crumpled like a puppet with cut strings. Silence. The room froze, fighters wide-eyed, mouths open. Faison lay sprawled on the mat, motionless. Rizwan stood there, chest heaving, glove trembling. He couldn't believe it. He'd knocked out the trainer. Then, from the back, a voice broke the silence. "Holy! He's out cold." Chaos erupted, shouts, disbelief, laughter, cheers. Half the gym swarmed Faison, the other half stared at Rizwan like they were seeing him for the first time. Rizwan pulled off the gloves, his hands shaking, and whispered to himself, I actually did it." Chapter 5, Aftermath. The story spread like wildfire. By morning, every fighter in the city had heard about the janitor who knocked out Faison. Some called it luck. Others called it destiny. But no one dismissed it. The gym's owner, an older man named Coach Haroon, pulled Rizwan aside. That wasn't luck. I've seen men throw punches for years. You've got something in you, power, timing, instinct. You've been watching, haven't you? Rizwan hesitated. Just, after hours. Copying what I saw. Coach Haroon smiled. Sometimes the streets make better fighters than the mats. You ever thought about training for real? Rizwan's heart ached. He thought of bills, of his mother's medicine, of endless nights scrubbing floors. Fighting was a luxury men like him couldn't afford. I can't. I need this job. But Haroon wasn't convinced. Think about it. Fighters aren't born in cages. They're born in struggle. Chapter 6, The Struggle Within. The days blurred. Rizwan kept cleaning, but everything had changed. Fighters who once ignored him now nodded in respect. Some asked him to show the punch. Faison, humiliated, returned a week later. His jaw wired, his pride shattered. He avoided Rizwan's gaze but made sure to sneer whenever he passed. One night, Rizwan sat in the empty gym, mop in hand, staring at the cage. He wanted it. The feeling of standing tall, of proving himself. But fear whispered, what if it was just a fluke? What if you fail? He clenched his fists. For once, he wanted to fight not just for pride, but for himself. Chapter 7, The Decision. When Coach Haroon offered again, Rizwan didn't say no. Training was brutal. His body screamed in pain, muscles burning in places he didn't know existed. But years of hard labor had built his endurance. He pushed through every drill, every round, every drop of sweat. The fighters who once mocked him now sparred beside him. Some even cheered him on. But the biggest challenge wasn't physical, it was mental. Every time he looked in the mirror, the old voice whispered, "You're just a cleaner." Nothing more. Until one night, Haroon pulled him aside. You knocked out a pro in one punch because you believed for that split second you could. That belief? That's the real fight. Keep it alive. Rizwan nodded. For the first time, he started to believe. Chapter 8, The First Fight. Months later, Rizwan stepped into his first amateur fight. The crowd didn't know his story, but the gym fighters did. They chanted his name, their voices lifting him higher. The bell rang. His opponent was younger, faster. Rizwan took hits, stumbled, nearly fell. But each time he remembered the cage, the laughter, the humiliation. He pushed back. Round after round, he fought not just a man, but his own doubts. And in the final round, when exhaustion blurred his vision, he landed that same devastating punch. His opponent collapsed. The ref raised Rizwan's hand. The crowd roared. Rizwan's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in his life, he wasn't invisible. Chapter 9, Legacy of the Mop Boy. Rizwan didn't become a world champion overnight. But he kept fighting, each match another step out of the shadows. The story of the janitor who knocked out his trainer spread across social media, then news outlets. Soon, people came to the gym not just to train, but to see him. Faison, humbled, eventually shook his hand. One punch changed both our lives, he admitted. And Rizwan? He never quit cleaning. Not out of necessity, but out of gratitude. These mats raised me, he said. I'll never forget where I came from. Closing message. His story became more than about fighting. It was about standing tall when the world tries to keep you small. Because sometimes, one act of courage, one punch, can change the way the world sees you. And more importantly, the way you see yourself. So next time you feel invisible, remember Rizwan, the janitor who picked up a mop, and found his place in the ring.